what's going to happen, if you want to be honest about it, which I'm quite happy to do since I'm not running for public office, is there will turn out to be some people for whom the cost of insurance is not a cost of insurance, they're known risks. So it's just a question of whether or not the rest of society wants to take somebody who is going to live for 2 more years, and it's going to cost you $1 million in order to do that. And you could put them in an insurance pool and pretend that it's insurance when it's a certainty, right? Or you can say, no, the price is too much. And my view about this is there comes a point in which I'm prepared to say the price is too much, and I don't think myself as heartless. I think myself as saying, look, this is a lousy investment. You're getting basically 1 year for $500,000. If I can take the same money, I'll keep it out of private hands, keep it in public solution, and spend it on school lunches for a bunch of kids in New York City, I can increase human life expectancy by, instead of 2 years, by 500 years, right? And as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather have 500 good years than 2 bad years. What's interesting, of course, about this is that the Republican opposition is now basically kind of coalescing around the position that infinite amounts of care for those on the critical list and in the ICU is one of the American constitutional rights, right? Which this program will undercut. And in fact, that's the one good feature about the Obama-type programs, is you're trying to bleed out some of the subsidies that exist on the Medicare side of this situation by having a more rational end-of-life policy. There is always a question of how do you know it's an end-of-life policy expenditure when you make it, right? But it turns out that the tests we have on this issue are much more reliable now than they had been in previous years. And in lots of cases, what happens is we know who's bad, because what they do is you fill up the emergency room, and then somebody who comes in who's been injured is 26 years old, and if you can get him through the next 48 hours, he'll live another 50 years. You bounce from the emergency room the person whom you know is going to die the soonest, right? So it's clear that we have these priority systems because we exercise them, but the moral imperative of every single hospital president in the United States is thou shalt not allow any ICU bed to be empty, because they're revenue sources of $8,000, $12,000, $15,000 a day, and they're high fixed costs when they're empty, right? So you just have all of these incentives going on, and you have to break it. I just don't think that that will happen, because I think the opposition for giving health care to everybody will come at least in large part from those who've gotten more than their fair share out of the public trough, who are resentful. This is exactly what happened in 1993, when it turns out that the AARP members were the ones who were most adverse to the Clinton care programs that were devised, which were awful, to be sure, but nothing compared to the sort of, shall we say, programmatic maldesign that we have today.